Tonight, President Biden prepares to deliver his State of the Union address. What to expect when he speaks to the nation. Plus,
we have these violent events occurring very close to our places of business.
Murders, carjackings, and gun violence surge in Washington. How D.C. leaders are working to stop the crisis. And
I had to drive through fire. I was gonna die.
Wildfires carve a path of destruction in Texas. How Operation Blessing is bringing hope to those in need. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation. The president heads to Capitol Hill to address America. Good evening in Washington. I'm Jenna Browder. The stakes are high for President Biden as he gets ready to deliver his annual State of the Union address. Biden will lay out his accomplishments and try to convince voters he needs 4 more years to complete his agenda. White House officials say we can expect to see him in fighting form as he contrasts himself with his 2024 opponent and paints Donald Trump as a dangerous alternative. The speech comes as a growing number of Americans have concerns about Biden's age and fitness for the office. Tonight we begin with Capitol Hill correspondent Matt Galka. All right, Matt, big night. What does the president plan to do in his speech?
Well, Jenna, he's going to try to convince skeptics of things that they might be thinking otherwise. He's obviously been facing some of those questions about his mental ability in the past couple of months. Those questions have been dogging him. The crisis at the southern border has captured much of America's attention, and he's also facing pressure from progressives to try to come up with a solution for the war in Israel. But the White House says that the president will be able to paint an optimistic tone tonight.
Fundamentally, the president will outline an agenda that is about continuing to build on the progress that we've made over the last 3 years. The president has always been an optimistic person, as you all know, and even in the face of challenges that we have in front of us, he will share why he is hopeful about this country's future and why it is a mistake. It is a mistake to bet against the American people.
And Jenna, this will more than likely be the president's biggest audience until any presidential debate takes place later this year. So we'll likely try to use it to kickstart his re-election campaign.
Yeah, then we'll see if there are any debates. Matt, what can you tell us about tonight's special guests, and what do they tell us about the direction the president might go in?
Well, the White House did confirm that they did extend invites to the Ukrainian president's first lady and also the widow of Alexei Navalny, the Russian opposition leader who recently died in a Russian prison. They both declined those invites, but the reason that's important is because the cloud of Ukraine aid, potentially giving more aid to Ukraine, continues to hang over Congress. But if we pivot over to who the first lady invited, we might be able to get a better sense of what direction the Democrats are going to try to go this election season. Some of her guests include Kate Cox from Texas. She had a very high-profile lawsuit while she was seeking an abortion, while she had a very risky pregnancy. And she's also going to be inviting a woman from Alabama who had to have her IVF treatments paused during the state Supreme Court's ruling and the subsequent legislation that they passed. Why is that important? Because, again, it's about that roadmap in this election year. Democrats will most likely take the debate of the right to life. They'll most likely use that all year, and that debate will continue in a pivotal election year.
Matt, Alabama Senator Katie Britt will give the Republican response. What can you tell us about her?
Yeah, if Senator Katie Britt isn't already a star in the Republican Party, she's a rising one. She's the youngest female Republican elected to the Senate, and that's pretty much the contrast they're going to try and paint. The president is 81 years old. Senator Katie Britt is just about 40 or above 40 years old, and you'll see a old versus young disparity when she gives the response. Now, we sat down with Senator Britt not too long ago with a one-on-one interview, and she told us a little bit about her faith journey, and it's a very powerful one. Her family, with her young children, they were in a house in Alabama that was in the path of a devastating tornado, and she shared with us how Jesus was with them the whole time.
We had done such a good job during that tornado. We were praying and singing, but he was literally with us. And I think a lot of times we need the faith of a child. And so when she said those very direct words to me, Mama, doesn't God call you to do hard things? I thought, yes, sweetheart, yes, he does.
And Senator Britt told me she cited that moment as one of a few that were faith-filled that led her on her path to eventually get into the Senate. You can also expect Senator Britt to hit Biden very hard on issues like crime and especially the economy, as those kitchen table issues still resonate with a number of Americans. Jenna?
All right, on Capitol Hill correspondent Matt Galka. Thank you, Matt. And for more, let's bring in CBN News Chief Political Analyst David Brody. So, David, is there a sense that this is going to be any different kind of State of the Union? Usually, of course, it's a shopping list of what the president wants to get done. But could we see an executive action or order tonight, given all of the issues that Matt just mentioned, like the border and the economy and others that Americans are really feeling pretty acutely right now?
Yeah, you know, I got to tell you, typically it's a relative snooze fest, to be honest with you. Not tonight. I'm actually excited about tonight. I have a couple desserts lined up, and I'm ready to go. We have YouTube coverage tonight with Dan Andros, Matt Galka, and others tonight on the CBN YouTube page. Look, there's a couple things to make note of. First of all, some news today. President Biden tonight will say that he's instructing the U.S. military to build construction of a port in Gaza along the Mediterranean Sea to help with humanitarian aid. That is going to be music to the ears of Rashida Tlaib and other far-left Democrats who have been on Biden, obviously, quite a bit because of the situation in Israel and, of course, in Gaza. So that'll be some news. But overall, there's a lot of anticipation, especially how he'll deliver his remarks, because the mental acuity is obviously a huge question mark. Even Democrats nervous tonight, Jenna.
Yeah. You know, David, to your point, a lot of people are talking about this. How important is Biden's delivery tonight? Not just what he says, but how he says it.
Well, it's crucial, you know, and trust me, it's time to get the body language experts out because that's going to happen. Also, what's going to happen when there is going to be some shouting from the gallery tonight? I'm sure when he talks about immigration, there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to say a few things out loud in the chamber, a lot of Republicans. How is he going to handle it? How sharp is he going to be tonight? We'll see. It's a huge audience for him. 27 million people watched the State of the Union last year. That was actually down. But here's the truth of the matter, Jenna, and you know the deal. Trump has all these rallies big around the country. Biden doesn't do that. He doesn't have those rallies. He doesn't get those crowds. This will be the biggest crowd he'll have probably before Election Day, or actually going through until Election Day.
Yeah. David, of course, Senator Britt, who we just heard from, will give the Republican response. What do you expect her to focus on tonight?
Well, this is really a juxtaposition, as Matt was talking about. You have Joe Biden, mental acuity issues, older, 80 plus, 81, was it 81, 82? I can't remember at this point. And then you have Katie Britt, who's obviously in her early 40s. So that juxtaposition of youth and vigor. And don't forget, this just in, she's a woman. This just in, she plays to the suburbs as well. In other words, this is what Republicans need to do in November to win. They need to win some of those suburban swing voters. Katie Britt hoping to bring some of them home with some common sense talk tonight about not just kitchen table issues, pocketbook issues, but also common sense on the cultural issues as it relates to parents having rights in their kids' education, and onward and onward.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk she could be, she's in the running for Trump's running mate, so we'll see maybe an audition for her tonight of sorts. David Brody.
I think a little early, but we'll see, yeah.
All right, David, we'll be watching tonight. We should mention your coverage starts at 8:45. The State of the Union starts at 9 o'clock tonight, and we will see you there. David, thank you.
You got it.
All right, to Haiti, where the U.S. State Department is urging Americans to leave immediately. Violent gangs banding together are threatening the government, pressuring the prime minister to resign. The gangs are going on the offensive this week, attacking the airport, banks, government buildings, and prisons, freeing thousands of inmates. Seeking to calm the situation, the U.S. is pressuring the prime minister to hand over power to a, quote, empowered and inclusive government structure. Dr. David Vanderpool is the CEO of Live Beyond, a faith-based medical aid organization working in Haiti. I spoke to him yesterday about what's unfolding there. Could you explain to us just what is unfolding down in Haiti?
Well, this is sort of the culmination of gangs running the country for the last 3 or 4 years. The government has collapsed. The president was assassinated in 21. The judiciary was also terminated, as well as the parliament. So there's not been an effective government in place since 2021. And the gangs have had full run of the country. The police, unfortunately, are overwhelmed. Haiti has a very low percentage of police per population. And so the gangs have gained control of Port-au-Prince. And we're just seeing what happens when gangs run amok without any kind of response from the government.
Yeah, how do you think this uprising will ultimately end?
You know, the only way, in my opinion, that this will end is if a foreign military force comes in and gains control. I don't think people have a very clear understanding of how violent it is in Haiti. Haiti is one of the most violent countries in the world right now. And it's going to take a tremendous amount of military action to make these gangs go away and to reestablish a government. It's a really dire situation in Haiti right now.
So I know you're talking to us in the U.S., but you actually live in Haiti. What does all of this mean for you, and will you eventually be able to go back? What does that look like?
Yes, we go back periodically. Right now, the airport's closed because the gangs attacked it, and so no one's going in or out of Haiti right now. So it's a very difficult situation. We have a large base with a surgical hospital, a school, a demonstration farm, a church, those kinds of things. And the biggest problem is that we can't resupply the hospital. And so the hospital relies on external aid, and it's impossible to get aid into the country right now. Food is in scarce supply. We're seeing a lot of child and maternal mortality because of starvation. And so it's a very dire situation there.
You know, we featured you on our show before, but for people who aren't aware, talk to us a little bit about what your ministry does.
Well, our ministry is called Live Beyond, and we provide healthcare, nutrition, and education in low-income countries. So we've worked in Mozambique and Ghana, Honduras, Haiti. Now we're working in the West Bank of Israel. And so these are the type countries that we're very familiar with and that we work in.
Yeah. For your ministry and for others there, what does the future of ministry look like in Haiti?
Well, unless we get some kind of external military force into Haiti, I don't think there's really any hope for Haiti to right itself. There's just no internal force that is strong enough inside of Haiti to make that happen. It's going to require an external force coming from the United Nations or some other source as well. But Haiti, unfortunately, is in a spiral that it can't recover from on its own.
Yeah. How can our audience be praying for you and your organization and the people of Haiti, David?
Well, I appreciate that, because prayers are the most important thing. We need to pray for the safety of the individuals, especially the vulnerable populations, pregnant women and children, older people. They're in an extremely dire situation, and they're very vulnerable to the attacks from the gangs. We need to pray that we're able to get food and medicine into Haiti so that we can treat the people who are there who may have been injured in the conflict. So those prayers are overwhelming. They need the Prince of Peace to come and to bring peace to their country.
All right, Dr. David Vanderpool, CEO of Live Beyond, thank you so much for talking to us, and the very best to you and your ministry.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Coming up, violent crime in the nation's capital. How the city is responding to the crisis right after this. Welcome back. In 2023, cities across the U.S. experienced a drop in crime, in violent crime, specifically in homicides. Only 2 cities missed out, including our nation's capital. National security correspondent Caitlin Burke takes a closer look.
Here in Washington, murder took the lives of 274 people in 2023. That's a 36% increase year to year and a 20-year high.
And it's become a real factor in providing for a productive and safe workplace.
Tom Wickham focuses on state and local policy at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. He says his employees no longer feel safe during their work commute, getting lunch, or engaging in other regular activities.
And then when we have these violent events occurring very close to our places of business, it only causes those fears to rise.
Local D.C. businessman Mike Gill recently became the victim of a fatal carjacking in the downtown business district at rush hour. Wickham tells CBN News Gill's murder hit especially close to home.
A local business leader, someone who had been also a government official, like many of us, who appreciates what government service is and really knows the business community well, and taken in such a tragic way, it galvanized all of us to do something more, to reach out to the policymakers to try to put an end to this rising violence.
The Chamber of Commerce joined 69 other downtown businesses and organizations in demanding the city take action to crack down on crime.
And we offered our hands in partnership to work with the mayor and city council to look at ways that we can reduce this violence.
A recent study from the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform and the D.C. Police Department found it's likely only 500 individuals driving a majority of the district's repeat gun violence. It concluded that since their violence is predictable, it's also preventable. At the beginning of the year, the Justice Department moved to allocate more federal prosecutors to work on D.C. violent crime cases. The FBI and other federal agencies are also stepping in. Meanwhile, the D.C. Council voted to reverse its progressive strategies by passing a sweeping crime bill to change how policing and punishment are carried out.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The bill is approved unanimously.
Included in the bill, no loitering drug-free zones, harsher penalties for gun crimes, new felony designations for organized retail crime, and expanded pretrial detentions for those charged with violent crimes. One of the more controversial provisions allows authorities to collect DNA samples from suspects and enter them into a national database without first waiting for a conviction. The U.S. Attorney's Office praised the bill, saying it provides law enforcement with crucial tools. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. Wildfires hit Texas ranchers hard. Up next, how Operation Blessing is responding to the need. Welcome back. In Texas, 6 wildfires are burning, including the largest in the state's history. The flames have consumed some 500 buildings, and cattle ranchers have been hit especially hard, possibly losing thousands of their herds. As Wendy Griffith reports, CBN's Operation Blessing is on hand, helping meet basic needs.
The Smokehouse Creek fire, which so far has claimed 2 lives and destroyed dozens of homes and buildings, is the largest fire in the state's history, consuming nearly 1.3 million acres. Many residents had to flee for their lives.
I had to leave, and then I had to drive through fire to get out of there. I was going to die.
Satellite images capturing the billows of smoke from the blazes, fueled by high winds and dry conditions. The fires moved so fast, ranchers had little time to get their cattle to safety. Thousands of cows were killed. In Shellytown, workers had the grim task of moving dozens of dead animals.
We have about a little over 1,000 cows here. As you can see behind us, we're picking up beds today. By the time it's all said and done, we're going to have lost probably 200 to 250 head, and that's just cows. We were right in the middle of calving season. I've spent the last 15 years building this cow herd up, and you can lose it overnight. But we've been very blessed and very fortunate that we've only going to lose 200, you know.
The fires also spread through the small panhandle town of Borger, Texas. This pastor had to house some of his congregants at the church when the fires got close.
They had to actually live up in our fellowship hall for a few days while they were getting everything straight, what happened with their house and everything. What we originally felt about it was that we've got to find a way to be the hands and feet of Jesus and to be the church in this situation and not just come to church.
CBN's Operation Blessing is working with several churches in the area to get basic needs to people, including food and water, hygiene kits, EMS care kits, rakes, shovels, cleanup supplies, clothing, batteries, and emergency meal kits. Pastor Shields says Operation Blessing is showing the love of Jesus to those who are suffering.
It means a lot to have support of different organizations that come, like Operation Blessing and things like this, to come and support, these communities in this time of need and this time of devastation, you could call it, I think, and because it shows that, people do care and people, do want to help.
Officials have yet to determine a cause of the fire, but some residents have filed suit against a local power company, claiming downed power lines played a part. Meanwhile, firefighters are hoping rain in the forecast this week will give them the upper hand against the flames. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Thank you, Wendy. And still ahead, a smartphone experiment taking off in Connecticut. That's next on Faith Nation. Finally tonight, a middle school in Connecticut is testing the waters of a cell phone-free environment. Thanks to a unique method, students at Illing Middle School in Manchester are participating in a pilot program requiring phones to be locked in pouches during the day and unsealed after school with magnetic locks. This allows students to keep their phones but not use them in class. The program is getting mixed reviews, but some kids agree being phone-free in school isn't so bad.
Time to times, we just take it out and use them out of nowhere, and we get distracted very easily, and I could 100% agree with that.
And the governor hopes to eliminate phone distractions at school, an issue being considered nationwide. All right, that's going to do it for Faith Nation. State of the Union, 9 o'clock. Our coverage starts at 8:45. We'll see you then.